Happy fall, y'all. Today we're going to make my sweet potato maple walnut coffee cake, and I'm using my new pan from Old Country Kitchenware. I got three sweet potatoes here that I have washed, and I put in a shallow dish with a little bit of water. I'm going to cover them and steam them in the microwave for about 20 minutes on high. Next, we're going to work on our streusel topping, which is going to be about 2 cups of all-purpose flour. And I'm actually using pastry flour because that's what I had on hand, but I normally would use all-purpose flour. And then a cup of brown sugar plus a cup of white sugar to that. Then to that, you want to add about a teaspoon of cinnamon, and then another teaspoon of salt, just to balance out all the sugar. And once you get that in the bowl, you're going to give that a mix to get it all nice and combined before we start adding our butter. In total, I used 1.5 sticks of softened butter. I'm using salted butter, but you can use whatever butter you have on hand. And as I break this up into pieces, a little at a time, I'll just start to work it into the flour. And I'm going to go back in with some more butter. And I just keep repeating this process till I get all of the butter worked into the flour, and that's going to be our topping as well as the streusel in the center. So once we get that together, we're going to set that to the side. Now we're going to measure out our extracts. I got a 1/2 tablespoon of vanilla extract, and then I'm doing a teaspoon of maple extract to that, and we're going to set that to the side. Next, we're going to start with a teaspoon of cinnamon plus 2 teaspoons of baking soda and also 2 teaspoons of salt. And we want to mix that together and set that to the side. But I did at the last minute decide to add a little bit of nutmeg. I'm using fresh nutmeg. You can use ground nutmeg or you can use no nutmeg. It's totally optional. I just decided to add some in at the last minute. So I just grated about a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, give that a mix, and set it to the side, and we're done with our prep work. Now our potatoes have come out the microwave. Again, 20 minutes on high in the microwave, and for the most part they were done, except for this third one on the end didn't get done. So what I wanted was about 2 cups of mashed sweet potato. I got just under that. Like I almost got 2 cups, but not quite, but we made it work anyway because that third potato didn't get all the way done. Otherwise, it would have been 2 full cups. So put that in your mixer. We're going to let the beater mash it up. And once we get it all nice and mashed up, we're going to begin to add our butter. We need 2 sticks of softened butter again. I'm using salted butter, but you can use whatever kind of butter you feel comfortable using. I tend to use salted butter for everything. That's just my preference. So 2 sticks go in, plus we're going to put in 1 cup of sugar and 1 cup of brown sugar. So that's 2 cups in total. And we're going to give that a mix so everything is nice and incorporated and nice and smooth, just like that. We're going to use 4 eggs. And I'm going to add these eggs in one at a time, but I'm only going to show you the first one for lack of time, right? So 4 eggs, one at a time. Once we get that in, we give our bowl a good scrape down, and now it's going to be time to add the flour. It is 4 cups of flour in total. I'm going to put 2 cups in, and then I'm going to, I always forget, I got to add my extracts. Those were the extracts that we prepped. Here are our 2 cups of flour, plus our baking soda, salt, and cinnamon goes in as well. Just sprinkle that on in. Mix it just until it's nice and moistened. And now we got 1 cup of buttermilk, and we're going to pour half the buttermilk in with that. And then once that gets just mixed, we'll stop the mixer, and we're going to add our other 2 cups of flour. And then we'll mix that until it's just moistened. And then we'll add the rest of our buttermilk. So that was 4 cups of flour in total, plus 1 cup of buttermilk in total for this cake batter. Now that's the rest of our buttermilk going in. And I am mixing this on a low speed. You can't really tell because the video is sped up for lack for time, sake. But it really is. And so at this point, once we get all the buttermilk in, we want to mix the rest by hand. I'm showing you here that the potatoes were stringy and they wrapped themselves around the beater. So don't bother scraping your beaters because you don't want to put those strings back into your batter. Now we're going to put half of this batter into our prepared bundt cake pan. I'm using this pan by Old Country Kitchenware. Sent me this pan and I wanted to try this recipe out here. But you can use a 13 by 9 inch pan. You can use a regular cake pan. You can split this up and make several loaf coffee cakes if you like. You can do muffins if you like. This batter is pretty versatile. But I'm putting half the batter in the pan plus half of the streusel, and then I'm going to put the rest of the batter on top of that streusel. Now, here's the thing. Once I got the rest of the batter on top of the first layer of streusel, the rest of the streusel I put in the microwave off camera and heated it for about a minute. Then, once I took the streusel out of the microwave, I added to this top portion about a cup of chopped walnuts, right? Because I didn't want walnuts all the way through the cake. I just wanted it on the top. So you see me mixing the walnuts in with the rest of the streusel that I heated in the microwave for 1 minute. And now I'm going to add that on top. Now, I am adding all of this streusel on top because I know from experience when I flip this cake, I'm going to lose half of the streusel anyway. So I'll just put all of it on there. We're going to bake this in a 350 degree oven for about an hour to 20 minutes, sometimes an hour and 30 minutes, depending on your oven, right? And you want to bake it on a sheet tray. And now I'm getting it out the pan. And as you can see, when I start flipping it, I got streusel going everywhere. And I'm just taking this spatula and loosening it from the pan so I can get it out. And I'm going to flip it back over, and then we're going to make our maple glaze for this, right? And that glaze is so good, but you can put as little or as much of it on as you like. So once we get this all flipped over, we're going to put some heavy cream in our bowl, and I have no measurements for this. I'm putting like a cap full of vanilla extract with the heavy cream, and then I'm going to do a cap full of the maple extract in with the heavy cream. And then I'm going to add my powdered sugar to the bowl on top of that. And I kind of guesstimate it's probably about 1.5 cups of powdered sugar in that bowl. And then I'm going to add some more heavy cream on top of that. And I'm going to start whisking this to get it nice and smooth. And this takes a little elbow work. Normally, I would just pull out my hand mixer for this, but I didn't feel like doing it, so I'm just doing it with a whisk. This is really thick here, so what I did off camera is I went and I heated it in a microwave for about 15 seconds, 15 to 30 seconds. I heated it to make it pourable because I didn't want to add any more heavy cream to this. It was fine. You can always heat your glaze if it's too thick just to make it pourable, and that's exactly what I did. For about 15 to 30 seconds, it was all that it needed, and now it pours out just fine. And like I said, you can... Oh, let me back up. Before I took this cake out of the pan, I did let it sit in the pan for about 25 minutes before I removed it. And I normally don't let something wait that long, but this needed it. So it really needed that time to settle down. And here's the final result. I tried my hardest to cut a very demure piece, but I couldn't get a cutesy piece out of this to save my life. But it is very delicious. It is very fall. Nice warm flavors. Plus you get the creaminess of your glaze. Perfect for brunch. Perfect for breakfast. Perfect for any time. Happy baking.